Welcome to Kutxi, a podcast where people from endangered and indigenous language communities around the world come together to share their experiences, challenges, and successes. In today's episode, we're talking about language revitalization projects and the work communities are doing to keep their languages strong. What kinds of projects are taking shape in our communities? What has worked well and what has been more challenging than expected? We're joined by Oluwi Aubin, a member of the Wolastoqewiyik community and one of the founders of Kehkimin, the first Wolastoqey land-based immersion school. He's a Wolastoqey language teacher and curriculum developer, as well as a talented musician and artist. We're also joined by Nastja Lebedeva, a Finnish teacher and tutor from the Karelian community. She was among the first to teach Karelian online in a multilingual setting and is a passionate advocate for language and community. And you'll also hear from me, Okan Dale, a member of the Laz diaspora working on Laz curriculum design and language technology resources. In this episode, we reflect on what it means to teach and support endangered languages, the joy and hope that comes when learners begin to absorb and use the language, but also the frustrations, challenges, and doubts that can arise when we look at the wider situation of our languages. Thanks for listening, and we hope this conversation resonates with you.
Quipsidewen Oluwi Aubin, Nujea Wasibeguk, Naga Nuega Ekpahag, Adukuwagudem. Hello, my friends. My name is Oluwi, and I'm a Wolastoqey speaker from the Wasibeguk community, a speaker and learner at the same time. And I live in Ekpahag, which is located in Canada.
Perfect, thank you. I think, did you say your clan?
Yeah.
Because I think I heard it. Yeah, the Dordem, the last part.
Adukuwagudem, yeah.
Gordem, yeah. I would say in Ojibwe, I would say Bijikin Dordem.
There you go.
Yeah. Sorry.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, Nastja, your turn.
Good catch.
Terve. Minä olen Nastja. Olen roinut Petroskois, Venäjän Karjalassa. Olen opistanut karjalan kieli haikuisena yliopistossa, jonka elän Suomessa Helsingissä. Siellä opastan karjalan kieltä ruon suomen kielen opastajana. Спасибо. Yeah, my name is Nastya, and I'm from Russian Karelia. And nowadays I live in Finland, and I do teach Karelian and as a I don't know, tutor. And but I studied it as an adult at the university, basically. Okay, Okan, since when you speak Laz?
I grew up speaking, not really speaking Laz. I have to also say that I'm only half Laz. My mom is not Laz, only my dad is. So, and growing up in Europe, there wasn't really much of a usage there, unfortunately. So I predominantly learned or spoke Turkish at home, which even my Turkish was not great, to be honest. But when I was a bit older, like around the age of 13, 14, that's when I started getting interested more in Laz, and I reached out to my papu and my nandidi, my grandparents, and I tried to learn with them, from them, because that's their mother tongue. It's also my dad's mother tongue, to be honest, but because he was educated in Turkish, it was a lot easier for him to speak in Turkish. And yeah, that's when I started trying to learn the language, but you know, my grandparents were not really educated, so for them to explain to me how to conjugate a verb, or what's an ergative or what's a dative case, is like, they don't know what that is. I mean, I barely knew what that is, but like, verbs are really complicated in my language. So for them, whenever they conjugated a verb for me, giving it in different persons, it just didn't click for me, because they were conjugated differently. And I was like, there must be some sort of pattern, but I don't see it. So I gave up, but then afterwards I started after I moved to the US, after I learned quite a bit of Ojibwe and Anishinaabe, I decided to reconnect with my roots, and that's when I found out that Laz Institute was offering classes, and that's how I started relearning the language, and also created resources for future learners. But yeah, that's my quick, brief background of how I reconnected with my Laz roots. What about you, Oluwi?
No, I did not grow up speaking the language. My language, the Wolastoqey language, is not really spoken by many people. So there's about less than 100 fluent speaker on about 10,000 people of the whole nation. And in my community, which is in the Quebec border, it's called Wolastoqewiyik, and that's where my mom's from, and my dad is Quebecer, so we just spoke French when I grew up. And my grandfather was already passed away, and he was the last one that really heard the language. So yeah, I did not have any introduction to the language until I was about 21, I'd say. I heard that there was language class offered in New Brunswick, and I took some online class, and then I kind of like went all in for it because I was like, oh, that's just so great. Like I'm so glad I could connect with this, and then I moved to New Brunswick a couple years after to go to university and learn more about the Wolastoqey language.
Is that what you studied in university?
Yes, I took like a 2-year program with the University of St. Thomas, and it was like just focused on learning Wolastoqey and like how the structure works. Of course, 2 years not a lot, so after that I decided to focus and try something else in that area.
So that's very interesting. You said your grandfather was the last person who heard the language.
Yeah.
Were there any words or phrases still used? Did he use anything that your mom was able to catch? Or was there no word at all?
No, my mom didn't hear the language at all either. And my grandfather died pretty young too, so yeah, so no exposure at all.
I see. Oh, I'm glad you reconnected though. That's really good. And how does your family perceive this, your reconnection with the language?
We're kind of all on the same page. Like after my grandfather died, it's kind of like everyone was like, "Oh, I think we should focus on our culture and our language and try to reconnect with that," because before the 80s, really the indigenous language and culture was not really well perceived. So since then, it has been like a growing interest, but before that, it was like very diminished and not, yeah.
I see.
It was not great. So, did you grow up with the Karelian language, and or did you learn it later in life?
Thank you for the question. Well, yeah, I mean, I learned it as an adult, but I would say that since like again, yeah, I was born in the area where the language is spoken, but the difference is like why I don't actually didn't speak it as a child, because probably I was born in the city, and in city it was only like Russian speaking people, so no need for Karelian. But I feel like maybe I have this kind of situation where we used to we were used to Finnish language quite a lot, and Finnish is like kind of like it's one family, one language family. You can say it quite similar sometimes, especially in some, I don't know, very basic vocabulary, I guess. So since very young age, I had like classes at school, like Finnish language classes, and I used to learn and speak Finnish a little bit since young age, but again, that was not for the real communication, I guess, mostly for the school and like for the studies. But again, I would say this is something I was like kind of surrounded by somehow, but it just you completely ignore it in your like real life because you just use Russian as the main language. You just don't need like anything else. So yeah, I wouldn't say like it was new, something like completely new for me when I started to learn it. But yeah, I just decided that I want to know the language when I finished high school.
Very nice. So did you have any words in the family that you used that were of Karelian origin, or was it completely outside of the family?
No, I don't think it was like, but I mean, the other thing is like, again, my dad is Karelian and they like divorced with my mom. So basically, I spent my childhood with my mom's side mostly. And so, yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't really remember. I believe that there was something when I was like a kid and when I used to live with my like grandparents from the dad side. But I just don't remember. But I spent so many time with them. I believe there was something, but again, it's just like the family situation because they like got a divorce. So I can't say. I just don't remember. Traumatic
I see.
experience or
I'm
something.
sorry.
That's okay. I'm just like, yeah. I'm trying to find the reason because I think that might be. I mean,
My last follow-up question, sorry. Did your grandparents speak it then?
yes, and I've heard that, but they. I'm not. I, the situation is that they probably were speaking between themselves, but not with the kids. So it was not in an active use with the kids, even with my dad. I think, yeah, because I'm not. I think my dad doesn't know anything. Maybe he knows something, but very little. And I think like my dad has some kind of problems with this. Like he doesn't care, or he is maybe even somehow like ashamed, and he doesn't want to like um to say in that he is not actually like Russian or something. Yeah.
How did you surrounded yourself with a community of speaker when you moved to Finland? Like, was it hard to find other people that speak the same language and have the same interest?
Mm. Um, to be honest, I wasn't surrounded by people who speak Karelian, I guess, until war with Ukraine, I guess, and until I was like, to be honest, it's also like very like personal reason why I started to be more into like trying to uh do some projects with Karelian language because like since I'm an immigrant and my first years of immigration, I don't know, maybe 5 years or something, I just didn't have any like resources for that. And I was like completely like focused on other things. Even though I know that I have friends who like they moved to Finland to study Karelian language, so that was actually an option. I could do that, for example. And Tachi, she studies like Veps and in Helsinki at the university, but it just was like my way. It was not like university studies, so I wasn't like doing anything with that. So, since you are interested, going back to the question, it's not that complicated because we have a community in Finland and it's quite big, I would say, and active. So, if you want to be the part of community, it exists already and you can just like join it. So, I would say it's like you can do that. It exists, so it wasn't like me or someone else who created it or something, but it's just like also there is like help of government as well. So there is a university who is like doing this revitalization program. So if you're like interested, you can join a lot of activities and be part of some kind of project work and everything. So yeah.
Modern day Karelia essentially is divided into the Finnish part and the Russian part, right? How interconnected are these communities now?
It's hard to say and not that good nowadays because, yeah, like I believe that legally there is no. I mean, if it's like university, for example, it's not able to have any like work with. So it's like Finnish university cannot have any like any projects or like doing any kind of things with the Russian one. So and same for the Russian one. So it's just like it's only like when people themselves have something and they do some kind of cooperation, but it's very little. And yeah, officially it's not possible.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Okay, thank you. Oluwi, can you tell me more about the Wolastoqey projects you've been working on in the community and in the past, and what's been working so far, and you've continued from the past to the present, or what you've started in recent years?
So I talked a bit earlier about it after I graduate university. So there was a bit of like our classmates were like, what are we gonna do with that 2-year program, and how are we gonna revitalize our language now? And there was a lot of topics talking about immersion schools and how it worked in different indigenous communities. And we just thought about it and like, how could we do that? Because we don't have fluent speaker that would teach. We don't have curriculum, and we don't have a place, and um, no one really have the initiative to do this. So we were like, how can we put all that together and try to do it? So it took a bit of time to get all those motion in, but we found a place. We had a couple people, a little couple speakers that were interested in helping us. So basically, what we did is like we try to create a curriculum that would like help us to go through the first year, and just like having sentences and everything that would help us to try to teach Wolastoqey, because our speakers are like 65 and older. So and in town in Ekpahag, there's about maybe like 10 max, and on those 10 people there's like probably like 3 that can write the language and read it. And so yeah, and now we have to see if they're interested.
That they have a formal background, educational background in the language.
Little bit, like the program I did, it kind of evolved through the years, and I think one of the first year, one of the speaker took the program, and funny enough, the other one applied for it, but he got denied. So because he knew too much. But anyway, yeah, that's very frustrating because like we all want to learn, and there's always opportunity to learn. So yeah, so we publish a book and we're like, okay, let's get some student in and try to see how this works. So we visited a bit of a different immersion school that we have in the area. There's like two, well, we visited 2 in the Mi'kma'ki territory. So we went to see how it works there, and we're like, oh, this could work. And we opened the school for 3 and 4 and 5, kind of a mix of those ages. And
So preschool.
it says preschool. Yeah, it was easier for us because there was so many restraint. If we had wanted to open like a kind of like a real school, there was so many laws, and we're like, oh, if we want to start, I think we should try to do this option, preschool, and go private, so we don't have to deal with all the government thing that they're imposing. And really, like, what we're doing is completely off of what they want us to do. So like there's no way it was going to fit in the colonial education system. So that's how we got started. I mean, after 2 years of, you guys know, after learning for 2 years, you're not fluent. So we just went in and try to use as much as we knew, and it's all about repetition, really. So once you're in the motion of, it's everyday language is usually always similar. So we would get a lot of learning as a teachers too. So
I
we
was
would
going to
learn
say,
and
I think
teach.
honestly, you learn more sometimes as a teacher than as a student.
Oh my god, yeah. The level I advanced in those 3 years is like crazy. And when we started, we kind of had a speaker came in the classroom and just spent time with us. But with time, they realized like, oh, this is too much for me. Like, I don't have the energy for that. Because when you teach children, like it's demanding, and then you get sick and all that. And speakers are over 65 years old, so like, yeah, they don't want to don't want to get sick and get into this. So they're mostly helping us, like creating more or just doing some small activities like that. Oh, that was a long answer, eh?
No, it was perfect. Thank you. How many people is the school currently running?
The school run for 3 years, so we had 3 years of three cohort of different student, and on our fourth year we decided to close it. So right now it's closed. Couple reasons why we had to close the school. Well, our goal was to make fluent speakers, and after those, the children could only stay for 2 years in our program, and after that they had to go to the other school system. So, and we didn't had enough curriculum to level our kids. So, and we had so many grant application that we had to to work on, because basically no one would pay for our teachers, because I don't know, they don't value that, the government. So we had to apply for creating other things, but we would pay our teacher with that. And then all the things we said we would do was kind of piling up, and we were like, oh yeah, this is no good.
Not feasible anymore, is it?
No, yeah, exactly.
I was wondering, like, maybe could you do an after school club then?
Exactly, though. So this year we're releasing a lot of new stuff, and also our school was like in a public space, because that's the only place we could find. So there was like random people walking in. Like, first day we opened the school, there was like a lockdown. Someone was running with a gun in the park, something like that. So you can imagine 3 and 4 years old people in this kind of. So yeah, we had to definitely find a new place. And we're talking about opening like a more like a language nest now. So that would be kind of like with new parents, just people interest, trying to build a community, because it was great. Like, the children will learn a lot of things, but also the parents' involvement is so important. And like, yeah, we need more parent involvement.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
And then the community of speaker, like, it was too small. So doing a language nest, I think, would kind of bring all different people together and just focus on learning Wolastoqey and speaking. So yeah.
I have a question, but just because I don't understand. In your case, then, what's the difference between actually like language nest and like immersion school you had? Wasn't it like a language nest then?
So immersion school is basically you do all your education. So you would spend the whole day at school, and it's only for children, because you have different grades of age, and that's what we were doing. So we had like the 4 and 5 years old until K5, and the language nest is more like it's more open-minded to the community, so you can create different activities and different events, and there's no age limitation, and we don't have all the same regulation too. So we could just have like parents and children come in and spend time in the language. We could have um, university student come in, any age. So it's more like of a community base, I'd say, than the immersion school, which is really more like focusing on grades and children.
Cool. Yeah, it's very interesting. Hopefully it works out. And honestly, I mean, I hope you understand it. I'm sure you do. Like, your immersion school project is impressive. It's like amazing that you managed to do that. And it did work out. It did work, right? You didn't
Oh
close it
yeah,
because it didn't succeed. It got a bit overwhelming at this point. So you did an amazing job, and it's like such an inspiration to me, at least. I wish I could do the same. Hopefully I can do it one day. So I'm really glad that you perceived it as a great experience.
it's definitely overwhelming. Overwhelming, but you need like a good team, and we had a good team. But yeah, it, that's how it goes.
But like, by your team, do you mean like your school? I mean, so you went to this program, right? When you like learned the language,
Yeah,
was it part of like bachelor or some kind of degree?
it was like a certificate, so it's not really a degree, but it's something, but not really. So when I was in that university program, we had different classmates, and some of them like really clicked and they had the same vision. So that's how we actually got together and created a school. So it was with four other classmates, and then the director knew speakers in her family, so she got them on board, and that's how really we could do it. Like we had all those people and elements together, and then the city of Fredericton was kind enough to give us a space, so we were like, "Can I have all the element we needed?"
I mean, I'm just also like, uh, how close you all live. It's just like something that might be our problem, I think, like with the Karelian community, is that Finland is not even that big, but people live in different cities. And it's like, it's sometimes very complicated to like do anything just because we live in different places. And like, yeah, how close you, I don't know, geographically with those people with whom you like made this possible. And I don't know, just like maybe it's even like personal question. I'm just wondering.
I have an additional question on top of that. You did say you moved to New Brunswick, right?
Yeah.
Are you in touch with anyone from back home that also support the languages? Because I think that ties in a bit with her question, like, oh, can you expand it to where you're from?
Definitely. Yes, I mean, Ekpahag, which is Fredericton in English, is it's kind of like the biggest city we had on our territory. So it kind of makes sense that we opened the school in that place. So we had like different people from different communities of Wolastoqewiyik people, and that's how we had like enough people to kind of join our school and also teach. So we had all the elements we needed really, and we were hoping that other communities will look at what we're doing and like be like, oh, we could do that. And how I connect back with my community, try to I did a bit of like language online because um, that's the only thing I really can do. So I got a couple classes with my community and try to build a community of speaker, but online with that, it's very different than a real live community like here in Ekpahak. But we have to because we really don't have that many speakers. It's unreal.
And I feel like you can connect it. It can be initially online, and then you can grow it into something more physical. or can be hand in hand. Like sometimes you meet up in person once a year, or maybe even more often. But you can lay a foundation, personally speaking, just by online classes or online events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great technology, honestly, for that.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, kind of moving to my own experience, and for example, the Lars Institute's experience. They started teaching in 2013, I believe. That's when the institute was founded, and they started teaching it in Istanbul, physically. And I think the perception initially was great, but student retention is not great for any of us. I think people drop out, people lose motivation, especially when it's physical. So you have to make the effort to get up and go to that classroom and speak it there. And I genuinely think once COVID hit and people started doing more stuff online, that helped at least our community a little bit more, keeping the retention a bit high, because you can join from anywhere now. You can just stay in your living room and join. And I think that helped us in terms of student retention. Like people would come more often, people would stay for the classes. And that's why I think it can be a blend of both. You can start off online now and then maybe try to connect them more in person. We do need that. We do need that physical connection. I think a lot of our communities in particular do need this, because we often feel individualized,
Isolated?
a bit of an outcast with our own language, and especially when we're further away from the homelands. So having that connection online initially, but then also later on physically, is, I think, a great way to connect to it. So for me, it's not just either online or in person. Ideally, both.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mhm.
What do you think, Nastja?
I agree with that. Yeah, like yeah, definitely I agree. But this is something like I personally and maybe like my friends who are also, I don't know, like activists or something, we want to do more like things and like in real life. And this is like when it comes to, okay, somehow it's not that easy if you're in different cities. I'm not saying like countries, because we are in also sometimes different countries, but even like in the same country but different cities. And we can organize something like, I don't know, once, twice a year. And obviously that's not enough, I guess. So yeah, yeah, I agree. It should be both, but just me who is like, I just want to make it more um like of real life communication and some kind of activities if it's possible.
Knowing you, because we've been working together quite closely a few months, which I'm really grateful for. I found a really nice Karelian friend, and I'm happy about that. I know you guys are planning on doing a language camp, right? Which is going to be a physical event. Is that correct? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, actually, we're planning, and now we had a pause or something, and someone, actually, one of our friend, she asked us like yesterday, a couple of days ago, how it's going, and to be honest, I think we had a pause like for a month or something. But the thing is again that we are waiting for the money, how you call it, budget, any because we need like we do everything like free of charge, but we need an accommodation and we need money for accommodation. So without an accommodation, it's not possible to have this camp. So it's like it's not on pause. It's just like, so we ask for this is it foundation or what it is when you're asking funding? Yeah, yeah. Before we actually know that we got the funding, so that's why it's on pause, I guess. But we did all like we did the program and the plans and everything. So basically gonna happen in July if everything is all right, and we're gonna get the money for the like accommodation mostly. And yeah, that's something I'm very excited about, and I think that might be like fun. And if it could be something like regular every year, maybe then for the longer period, and again for kids, because I think it's like important for kids very much, I hope. So yeah, but it's just first like test drive. Let's see if it's gonna happen.
And that would be in Eastern Karelia. Oh, no, sorry, in Karelia.
Not really.
Oh.
It's not. We don't have a place yet because the prices are really different, and maybe we're gonna go to Oulu, which is like Ostrobotnia. So it's like more to the north, and it's north and next to Sweden, to be honest. So it's I also have a question why we go there, but it's just because we're trying to find most like affordable place, to be honest. So, and like in Finland there is a culture of different kind of activities during summertime. So that's the thing. And then like um um the Karelia, it's like quite popular destination to have vacations and everything. So that's why we're going to Oulu, probably. Quite random, but yeah, that's the question of like what we can afford.
I do find it interesting when you mentioned the 2-year curriculum earlier, Louis, and how it obviously doesn't prepare you fully to speak the language fluently, which is just natural. It's just in 2 years you can't learn everything. And as a learner myself, I do have to say I was sometimes really frustrated by the lack of cohesive curricula, or just one curriculum really for life.
Oh my god, yeah.
We do have four LAS textbooks. I think culturally speaking, they're really great because they're really trying to incorporate our culture. They talk about the way of living up there. They talk about clan culture. They talk about everything that I think is very important for us. But the problem is, in terms of grammar and vocab, more so grammar, I want to say, they use an English textbook as inspiration to design the curriculum for LAS. And it just doesn't work. That does not work at all as a learner. Because English, the language is just so different. And I'm pretty sure Wolastoqey, similar to our language, the verb is almost the most important aspect of our language. And in English, we have, I go, you go, she goes, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the textbooks were sometimes great. They had some great like cultural aspects that I think I sometimes try to use as well, but they don't facilitate a meaningful learning experience for someone who doesn't know the language at all. I do think it works for children in the region who have been exposed to the language a bit more, who speak it somewhat but not fluently yet or make mistakes. They find it more natural to speak it, so it makes sense for them, and they can digest it more easily. But for us, people who were not raised with their language properly, just a few sentences here and there, I think it's a lot more challenging. And that's something I decided myself to really tackle with my teaching degree. I have a teaching degree, and I really love that degree. It's probably one of the few degrees I really cherish, because it really taught me how to teach language properly. And actually, maybe we can ask Nastja as a case study, because she is observing my classes every now and then. I really try to create an experience that prepares the student eventually, and by eventually I mean up to 40 hours, because I divide my classes into 10-week sessions each, so 10 weeks, 1 hour per week. So by the end of the 4th session, students should be somewhat prepared to be able at least to digest and absorb the language more in the wild, where you have to learn the language more or less, but to make it make sense. So when they hear a verb, for example, in a really weird form they've maybe initially not understood, now they can go back and say like, oh, I guess that's the past tense and the preverb is this way. I guess that's what it means. I guess that's how I can use it now. Or detangle it, because native speakers just throw random words at you. But then as a learner, if you're not equipped with the techniques to analyze the verb or the word, it's just really hard to absorb the language. So that was my main goal. I wanted my students to be able to understand and digest and dissect the language, so they can eventually go out there and start learning the language themselves. And I do wonder, like when you did your 2-year course, and obviously when you started doing your immersion school, is that something that affected you as well? Like the curriculum design, how was it? Was it also prepared? Like, was it prepared in a way that prepares you to be able to speak the language good enough to absorb more later on?
Definitely, yes. I see what you mean too. Like when you learn a language like that way in like university, and you kind of have to learn how to break the words and the meanings. But when you learn it naturally, like as a mother tongue, doesn't work like that. It's just repetition, and then you know how the language work, but you don't really know the patterns, but you know how to just put them all together. So it's very different from learning like how I did it with the school, that you understand like, oh, the preverb and like the person markers and everything. So it definitely helped me to get more tools to, like, if someone says something, I'm like, well, I already know like half of what they're saying and just have to figure out this part. And once I figure out, I can use it in many other ways. So yeah, definitely
That's how you were prepared then in your 2-year course,
yeah,
right?
exactly. That's how we get prepared, and that's probably the only way we would be able to do it, because we're all not fluent speakers, so we didn't have like just the language to teach the children. The children, they learn differently. It's repetition. So we tell them sentences, and they just absorb everything, and then they talk it back. But it takes a lot of time.
No, and that's something I really like. I like the idea, and that was something I wish I had, and that's why I like sat down and really started creating this cohesive curriculum across all these levels, because I did not have the chance. I had teachers when I asked them, "Oh, why would you conjugate this verb?" Similar to my grandparents, I asked them, "Oh, why would you conjugate it this way?" And my teachers would be like, "I don't know." I was
Yeah.
like, I guess my grandparents can say that because they're not actual as teachers, but you as a teacher, you should know actually why it's this way. So you can tell us how to spot it and how to understand that it's this way. Because I'm not like, when I teach, and Nastja can tell you, I'm not there saying, this is the grammar pattern, memorize it, translate it. No, I show them through pattern recognition. Like we play games, we see the verbs, I color code them. And after they've seen a third or fourth form where we play these games, they're like, oh, okay, that's how you conjugate this, for example. And that's something I'm working on, and I'm almost done actually. Obviously, you revise it. You never. I mean, we're all perfectionists, aren't we? It's never going to be perfect, so you always revise it, but you try to make your best. And I think that's something I am kind of proud of, and I want to share with more students in the future, for them to not hit that like block really, where I was for a long time, because there's nothing. It's like how can I move from the beginner level to the intermediate level? Is that a common issue in your communities or languages?
I I can say like that we have completely different situation. I mean, there is no issue with textbooks or with the theory of any kind of grammar or syntaxis or anything like that. It's like, since again we have a good example of Finnish language, and in case of grammar, it's very similar. So it's just, I would say, in a very good condition. I don't know. I feel like textbook that I use for my students, the problem is not about that I can't answer why this is happening and what kind of case is this and how to conjugate something. It's just, it's like I mean, in our case, it's just not enough, like, um, I don't know how to explain that, but it's just like you have the theory, you just don't have the
Practice.
yeah. I mean, it's just like we don't have such a problem as like with lost language, I would say, at all. And I feel like we have very good structured textbooks at this point. And as a person who did a degree with the language, it's a very logical and a good way for adults to learn the language using, for example, those materials. So At least something we don't have problems with.
That's good.
Positive something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I should think about positive sides maybe a little bit more often. So yeah,
Yeah,
we're
there you
good
go.
with that.
I do think, yeah. I mean, Finland is. Let's not forget, it's one of the best countries in terms of education, right? And I guess you do benefit from that linguistic relation there a lot.
Yes. I am saying yeah. That's very good thing, to be honest. Yeah. It's a good thing and at the same it's a bad thing because yeah, when we go like somewhere deeper, someone can like so again, this is why it's so easy to. This is why we even have problem if this is language. If this it is there is a reason to like to learn it as a language. Why it's not just a dialect then or something like that. But no, I mean like nowadays it's language. It's not a question or something. But for many people it's still like if it's so similar, you can just speak your dialect or something, and that's why there is no like respect, I guess, or some kind of this. Yeah, so it's like why it's not just Finnish? Why
Yeah,
why should we even like
yeah.
care about like this a little bit different language?
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to Oluwi earlier. It's like I was telling him about how I support you guys and how we work together, and how I initially told you as well. Like I can help you with the support of Karelian for Russian native speakers as opposed to Finnish native speakers, because I'm not familiar with that concept of a language being really closely related to the other one. Because Laz has sibling languages, yes, but they're not closely related, and Turkish is certainly not related to Laz. So I don't even know how to deal or like grasp that concept or support you in that. But when it comes to the Russian speakers, it's a lot easier for me to help you with that. And
Yeah,
I'm
that's
assuming,
true.
Oluwi, for you it's easier. It's probably a clear cut. English and French has nothing to do with your language.
Well, yeah, it's actually English, French, and Wolastoqey are all different structures. So yeah, and people that learn Wolastoqey, they usually don't have like any collection of like how the language works. So it's a very hard transition for sure.
So yeah, other projects.
Tachi told me to mention our online classes. And, yeah, because I can't speak for the whole community, obviously, but like something what we do, we like try to have classes ourselves, and they're online, and that like there is even something unique in that because yeah, we're trying to have it like for people with the different backgrounds, which means they not necessarily have any common language. So we picked English as a I don't know like something to start with because we have like Russians, Finnish, and we do have like other foreigners as well. We are all foreigners. I don't know, but I mean, like people with the like some third language they speak as native language, and yeah, this is something I would say no one did, I guess, because you can find courses like in Russian, you can find courses in Finnish, and we decided that if we want to try like more modern, fun way to teach, because any kind of online courses they are like quiet, boring, and it's they're limited, and you don't have many options, and yeah, they like mostly mostly like I don't know how to explain that. I mean, there's not that many tools that teacher uses for those like online classes, so we just try to at least add some more gamification or something. And yeah, I would say like actually that goes well. It's not over it. We have still like 2 or 3 classes left, but it's almost done. We had like each of us had like 16 classes, and I would say that was actually very good experience, and I mostly have good feedbacks because I know that my students they have fun with me, but I know like what I want to do different because I feel like I actually want to add some kind of um language cafe like thing because I miss a real native speaker during our lesson. Maybe not every time, but sometime. And like we're quite able to find one. It's not like there are people who like speak Karelian as a mother tongue still and they like able to join those kind of classes. So this is something we can improve for sure. I mean, that might be fun. And yeah, I would say this is like a nice experience and we were not um we were not that familiar with the like teaching online Karelian or Veps. It's like it's more rare. You don't have actually any online classes. I think Touch's class is the only one that exists. So I would say that's very cool. We would be happy to like do it again. And yeah, but definitely, yeah, obviously like make it better and yeah, have at least twice a native during the class so we can just like chat on some subjects or something. So yeah, that's our project. I think that's going nice and fine. I hope so.
I mean, yeah, if your students are having fun, like, and they learn, that's the best that can happen,
Maybe it's
really.
because maybe it's because I'm the clown. I don't know. I'm not sure if they learn a lot, but they just we just laugh constantly on some
I'm
like
sure they
very
do.
stupid jokes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think yeah, obviously they learn something and yeah. But maybe like the atmosphere at least for me, but again it's my personal point of view, but I think atmosphere is very important because I do have people who join every class, which I think like great, so they like value this.
I mean, I only was able to join your class once, unfortunately, but everyone seemed very happy and very chatty, and people wanted to do the activities. It was actually that session where she did the Connect 4 activity. I preached to all of my friends, like, please use them in your classroom. And that's the time where I joined, actually, when she used it. And they all were doing it, and they were really motivated to speak the language as much as possible. And I feel like that's a good sign.
And I actually also like we had this Secret Santa, and like this is such a small activity, so there was like a chance for them, like they decided themselves if they want to send or receive like maybe a real letter or at least like email. And this is feels like even when we have these online classes, we actually send each other like cards, and like people still receiving cards, and I received three. I'm, I'm their like favorite teacher. I don't know. So I'm happy with the that I even like we found a way to make it a bit more like I don't know like real because we even like got that's actually nice and maybe it's also like a good idea to add this kind of I don't know, maybe they become a pen pal. Is it a pen pal when you're like
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Why not?
That's actually a good point. Yeah, I might do that next year. New Year card.
No, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I did actually participate in that Secret Santa she mentioned.
Oh.
But now I'm like, why did I not do that with my own students?
Yeah, you definitely want to create like connection with all those people that are interested in the language. So that's a great way to do it. I like that idea.
I don't know what's like for you guys, but mine are just so shy. Like I have a WhatsApp group. I've been trying to like every now and then initiate conversations in the language, ideally, obviously. Sometimes they're just like, "Oh, what are you guys eating tonight?" And then sometimes they respond. Sometimes it's just cricket. So yeah, that's an individual issue. Sometimes it's also the people coming together, right? Like sometimes they just don't click as much. So maybe a different group will be more open and motivated. But that's something I noticed in my groups at least. Again, online. Like if they at least met once in person, I'm pretty sure it would be very different.
It's very different. Yeah, I agree.
How many kids participated in your school? Do you remember numbers?
Yes. So the first year we had about 6 kids. Second year about 10 to 8, and the last year we had like 5. But in total, I'd say like maybe 20 kids, because some of them like did more than 1 year.
Mhm. But do you like, I don't know, do you know how other like friends, I don't know, and other parents, do they keep in touch or something like that after, like, if the school is like closed for now?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get the kids back every month. So we do like a come back to school day, and it's great to see the kids like just spending time together and saying, like, of course the connections are already created, and the some of them keep it and some of them doesn't, but yeah, they're definitely staying friends. So I guess that's a good thing, because also now like they go to school, but their school doesn't speak Wolastoqey, so they say, can speak that language here, like not what people use, and they already realized that. So to stay in touch with the people that actually went to school is like their own community of speakers, so they can play with them and using their language. But if they play with other people using that language, like they realize pretty fast, oh, they don't understand me, or like this is not working.
Do you have experience? Can you compare like experience of working with kids or with adults in case of, yeah, like teaching the language? Is there any differences, or what's your opinion?
I have no degree of education. Can you believe that? And I and I taught at the immersion school for 3 years, but I have no degree. So it was a bit of a weird thing to get put in there. Of course, I have other teammates that had like all the experience to know how navigate and like. Well, I grew up in the and my mom had a private kindergarten at home, so I kind of grew up with kids and like helping her and see how it works. But really, I don't have any degrees, so it's really cool. And the difference with teaching young kids and adult, I mean, it's very different, but really, it's also quite similar. You're just trying to have fun and speak the language. And if they can have fun and speak the language, like yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I mean, adding to that, if you remember when we talked about that Nastja in the past, all these activities, everything I did was obviously based on that teaching degree that was focused on essentially secondary, middle school students up to sixth form, high school, and sometimes even primary school. But like, I just literally take these activities and put them in my adult classroom, and they literally do the same, and they enjoy it equally, if not even more sometimes, because kids sometimes want to be the cool ones, like, oh, I'm not enjoying this.
I mean, this is like something, I mean, as a person who like basically works with the adults, I would say there is no issue with using things that are made for kids with adults, because I feel like most of adults, they do enjoy actually like this kind of activities and everything. It's mostly, I mean, I feel I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to like work with kids, because this is different. I mean, you need to know a lot of things, I guess, how to deal with, like, I don't know, with their attention and like their like emotions, and like I don't know, nervous system is working somehow different yet in this. So it's like I can understand that like for adults you can like use this like materials for, I don't know, younger people, but the other way doesn't work, sure. So it's just like, yeah, I'm confused with that. But yeah, I'm not gonna be anyway. In Finland you have to have education for like to work with kids. It's actually like that's the problem nowadays, because we don't have any of our like of my close circle of my friends, like who are also like Karelians, we don't have a degree. So basically, we can't do anything with the kids. We can like have, I don't know, again, the scamps, for example, or something like that, because we're supposed to have, like, at least someone supposed to have like degree in education. And we have a friend who is actually like she's doing her master's or something, so she's probably gonna be a professional one. So we're hoping for her.
Yeah, I'll just add a bit. Like we had the same problem as you. Like we didn't really had all the qualification and the degrees that we needed to do a real school. So we had to just play with that and go private and do a preschool, and it worked out. But yeah, no one we didn't had all what we needed, and that's also the main problem. Like people don't really value the experience and the fact to know the language too. Like, is even if you have a degree, you can't teach Wolastoqey if you don't have the background, you know. And that's a big problem we have now in communities. It's like don't value really the language. So
When I met other activists from Russia, like language activists, which language is in a very good position, to be honest, and like they do tell quite openly. But I mean, I do understand this as well, that our language is gonna die, like, I don't know, in 5 years or something. So even though we have like 30,000 like speakers, which is not that, I don't know. So it's still like going to disappear, like, I don't know, quite fast. How do you deal with motivation when you have like this little amount of speakers?
it's very hard on the self conscience because yeah, we had so many little speaker, and every year we lose about 10 speakers, and 10 speakers on 100, it's a lot. So it's like, oh, we don't have that big window of time. Like in 10 years, I don't know how the language is going to be. So that's why I'm just trying to focus and see like how can we create new speakers, and I just trying to get people inspired by what we did and what we are doing, and hopefully people can just like realize the importance of it and try to focus their time on creating speakers. Because yeah, once there's no more fluent speakers, it's like, what do you do? This is like part of your identity. Our language is rooted to the land. It's like, yeah. I guess what I got from this podcast, really, like I wanted to keep in touch with other activists that are also teaching languages, and I think it's good for your own motivation too, because it's easy to just get in the downhill. You know, there's so many blockers and reason to just not do it. So it's really important to connect with other people that are doing similar work, so you can see, oh, I'm not alone doing this, and like, oh, there's more to this. So yeah, I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining today. It was really great seeing you again. I think what I learned, especially, were the projects you guys have been working on. I really hope the Nest school works out for you, Oluwi, because that's something I would love to see myself once you run it. I want to visit you and see how it actually works and how you guys collaborate. And even the immersion school project sounded amazing. I wish I could see it. I mean, I did see the video you shot back then at the conference. It was very inspirational already. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next school. And with you, Nastja, like we've been collaborating for a long time anyway. So it's great that we've been in touch, supporting each other in curriculum design. And I really like the Secret Santa idea, so I definitely want to do that with my students next year. And also for you, Oluwi, obviously we've been working on our little Minecraft multiple language mod. So if your communities out there, listeners, if you're interested in joining, I did create a mod for indigenous and endangered languages, so you can simply reach out to me and I can add your language to that mod, and then you can start translating the words. And when you're ready, I can always update the mod, and you can play in your game in your language ideally. So yeah, Nastja, if you want to join as well, you look very fascinated.
No, I don't get when I have time for all of this. Anytime Okan is sharing like what's going on in his life, I'm like, and what kind of projects he's like working on, I'm like, oh my God, I just woke up and then I went to the gym and now I'm tired and I want to have a rest.
That's why I'm skipping the gym. I don't go to the gym, so I've got time for this.
Should I quit gym? Is this the reason?
At least for me. No, I'm joking. Go to the gym. Stay healthy, stay fit. That might help you as well, actually. So no, that's something we are collaborating. I'm really happy to see you two, because I am already collaborating with you two, and I hope we do more in the future.
I'm I'm waiting for this language nest as well, because I think it's a very, very important, actually, and for like minority languages, it's a very big chance to like, save them. And so, I wish you all the best.